My name is DeAndre. Welcome to another edition of Talking Shit. Today we have a really, really special friend of ours here. He's a friend of mine, personal friend of mine, and I'm going to be talking to Robert D. about a social justice fair over at the school he goes to over at El Camino Community College in Los Angeles. And I called him onto the show because I wanted to talk to Robert a little bit about what he's doing over there, what he has done in regards to other programs and other things. And so basically, let's get started. Okay, Robert, talk to me a little bit about this this fair, this social fair. What is it? What are you guys doing over there?
Well, the purpose of the fair is to expose students to a variety of social justice issues, but also some of the organizations which address them. Additionally, also encourage students to participate in such issues and or organizations.
Right.
And obviously we're going to be focusing on the student population, but it is open to the community. The school is welcoming the community to participate.
Okay, so what are y'all going to be doing? Y'all going to have any fried chicken? Are y'all going to have rides? What are you guys going to be actually and literally doing? Like speaking to them, conversing, what?
We have about 50 different organizations participating that exist throughout the LA area. A lot of them are grassroots, but we also have some national organizations that are participating as well. So we're basically going to have tables set up with all the different organizations in which these organizations are going to be outreaching to students, telling them about their organization, the work that they do, and also trying to get students involved in the issues that these organizations participate. From 1 to 2, we're going to have a combination of poetry and speakers.
Wow.
We have James Lafferty, the executive director of the National Lawyers Guild, speaking.
Wow.
We have a gentleman by the name of Carlos who works with Occupy Fights Foreclosure speaking. We also have a woman from Code Pink speaking as well.
You talked about the Occupy. What a great transition. You might be interested in social television shows and media stuff. That was a great transition. Talk a little bit about your work that you did last year with the Occupy movement on campus.
With the rise of the Occupy movement, a lot of students were inspired to be more active on campus.
Right.
So myself and another individual started a working group on our campus. Primarily we focused on saving a winter session. So we had,
which you accomplished.
Which we did.
I have some friends over at the school, and they said that you guys pulled that off.
It was difficult, but we were able to save it for another year.
And so what was going on? They were lying about money, or not lying, excuse me, I don't want to call nobody no liar, but there was a discrepancy with the funding, and you all exposed what happened?
They were being a little, I don't know how to put this. Basically, it was a quiet about what they were doing. We were promised a winter session. They turned around and said we weren't going to have it. They tried to have a vote the week of finals not in 2012
or 2011. You mean
the Board of Trustees. Tried to have a vote the week of finals, fall semester 2011, and we organized a walkout of about 100 students the week before finals.
Good.
And demanded that they push the meeting back.
Absolutely.
They pushed it back 3 months. We had another walkout of about 100 students and demanded that they retain the winter session for the academic calendar for this year, which we were able to accomplish.
Oh, that's a beautiful thing. Now, you and I have had some personal discussions, and I don't want to start any trouble, but there's been a little bit of friction between the two of us. Very close friends here, both me and Robert. And Robert has made some very personal yet very informed comments about my president. So I wanted you to talk to me a little bit about, like, based on, because Robert and I actually went together to listen to Dr. West speak over at Dominguez, the university. How do you say it?
Cal State Dominguez.
Cal State Dominguez Hills. We went over together as a team, and we went over and listened to Dr. West. And Robert's very familiar with some of Dr. West's involvement with the Occupy movement and all of that stuff. And I wanted you on camera, or just for your own self, what are some of the discrepancies that you see with some of the crap or the things that you don't like about our president, and like what he really is doing to help us out, like certain situations with the education stuff, the way he's changing, or the way he's offering to change these programs or something to where it's going to be like voc rehab basically at community colleges, opposed to regular academic curriculum that you now currently have at some of these community colleges. What's your beef with that?
I mean, there's a lot of issues in which I'm not comfortable with.
Well, you can just do one or two.
Particularly, what's most disturbing to me is his policy with drones.
Right.
The usage of drones. I mean, it's really hard for me to trust someone who is just advocating, the use of these drones when hundreds of women and children are being killed in these countries with these, alleged accurate, precision airstrikes, which have been proven, to not only be inaccurate, but to be, basically guilty of murdering innocent children and women in these countries. I mean, prominent organizations like Amnesty International, which is one of the leading organizations in human rights around the world, has been documenting this and just how it's completely ignored by our president.
You know that this drone program was something that was already established and written up. And I don't know if it's part of the Patriot Act, but I do know it's part of the Bush administration. And they haven't been able to kind of untangle it, much like some of the other programs that Eric Holder is trying to wiggle and move away from. Just a lot of stuff that went on with the Patriot Act 1 and 2 that's kind of got him all mixed up in this stuff. And from what I understand, I don't really think the president has made any comments on it, and that's what bothers me, and I love the president. But I really would like to hear him come out and literally say something or defend himself or, back away from this program. And I agree with you that it is, I have seen reports from other news agencies that say that, strategically a lot of these drones are just missing the mark and really taking out a lot of innocent people. I don't want to blame the Bush administration, but I'm just saying, I think that this is another one of those things that people put into motion right after 9/11 and right after the Patriot Act that we're really finding ourselves under a lot of pressure with, and I don't think these things are working. I actually agree with you. So other than that, the drones and that, what else is he failing on?
I think one of the things that comes to mind, especially working with the Occupy movement, is where the money has come from. I mean, Obama has taken large contributions from some of these banking institutions, on Wall Street, and with the 2008 crisis, bailed out many of those companies, that supplied him with the funds that he used for his presidential campaigns.
Right. And so you do know that along with contributions that he receives, that's actually a part of the system that most, if not all, politicians are tied into. And you're saying that in order for him to be effective or honest, that he should be rejecting all of that and still try to become the president of the United States?
He wouldn't be the president of the United States.
Right, so you understand that, right. But I agree with you, though, too. I was a little upset because in the beginning of the 2008 campaign, Barack and several of his advisors had said that they were not going to take these types of contributions, that they were going to do grassroots and a lot of the phone banking and stuff that I helped out with, that was primarily how they were going to get their money. And somebody actually woke up and realized that there was just not going to, it wasn't going to be able to be pulled off. So anyway, I don't know. I love him. I think he's a great guy, and I know that he's not perfect, but this is the best I've ever seen it. And that doesn't mean that it can't be better, and that doesn't mean that we should still be using drones and having, social sex with banks that give us money. That's blood money. One of the things that bothers me outside of Barack Obama is when, we say, Barack, you're bad, you shouldn't be taking their money, shame on you, and then that we have that argument. But what about the fact that these banks are now being literally called out on basically embezzlement, lying about certain market practices, raising certain things, and it's really not the value of product. And then they're being caught red-handed. They're just saying straight out, "You guys are busted. We want $6 billion," and then they get to pay. How do you feel about that? Like, all the wrongdoing is being exposed. These guys in these big banks are being told, "You broke the law, international law. We caught you red-handed. So just pay us, and nobody has to go to jail, and just give us the money that you stole anyway." I mean, doesn't that kind of disturb you a little bit?
I think that what you're describing perfectly illustrates, the nature of our political system, our economic system, and, exactly how we treat, the wealthiest, Americans in our country.
Right.
Personally, I hope I didn't, come off like I was just completely discrediting, our president. There are some things that, he's doing that, I have respect for. What I'm most uncomfortable with, where I just distrust our political system. I think that it's so corrupt that there's very little, a president can actually do working within a system like that.
I totally agree with you.
And that instance that you were describing, illustrates that perfectly.
Yeah.
That people just get away with, if you have the money, you just get away with whatever you want to do.
And you just buy it all.
Yeah.
As we close, I really want to thank you for coming on, and I love conversing with you, not on camera, obviously. And part of, being involved with this, like our show and everything, incidentally, you didn't mention the date of your event. When is that?
That's going to be on March the 12th.
March 12th. We're going to plug it. I'm going to remind people on future episodes of Talking Shit about this social justice fair over at El Camino College on March the 12th. You're going to have booths. Maybe we can actually come over and
You're
tape
more
some
than welcome
stuff.
to come and participate.
Yeah, make sure you guys are following all the rules. So what I don't understand, and I guess this could be like my closer or final question, is if the college knows that you're kind of like rubbing them the wrong way and you're practicing your freedom of speech and everything, why do they continue to let you guys do stuff?
It all depends on what you're focusing on.
Right.
See, when you're challenging administration and, talking about, well, why is our president, the college resigning and then being rehired with a $40,000 pay increase 4 months later, then they deal with you a little differently. But when you're talking about more broad social issues, they have more tendency to help you with that kind of stuff.
Wow. So how long have you been over there?
Not too long.
All right, well, that's all the time we have for Talking Shit. I want to thank Robert D. for coming out.
Thank you.
He's a good sport, and see you next time. Thanks a lot.